Hey guys, it's Ohmwrecker, and this is my second vlog video where we're going to go over a milestone, we're going to do Ask Ohm, and we're going to also go over some details of a big giveaway. I am showing War Thunder once again. I was actually trying to get some footage going for you guys of Tribes Ascend and also of Counter-Strike Go, but I decided to go with this one because I don't know, I really like War Thunder. I think it deserves more attention. It's a really cool flight game, even if you're just looking for a casual experience with the arcade mode. In this, I'm just sitting there playing with the mouse and keyboard, and you know, it's really just like a game I've been going to in so-called like off time. Just to have fun. I mean, even just jumping in for 15-20 minutes, you can usually knock out at least a round. So, but yeah, if you guys haven't checked this game out yet, I highly suggest that you do. It's free to play. You can jump in, play any of these sides. This is Russia, though. They've got some hard-hitting planes, but for the most part, they're more about maneuverability, armor, and also their ability to turn is pretty decent. So, if you guys missed it, I hit 20,000 subscribers. That's actually a really big milestone for me, and I'm super pumped about it. You know, being able to say that I'm now in the 20,000 plus club. Of course, you know, every time you hit a milestone, you start looking to the next one. For me, the next one's probably going to be like 25, I would say. I mean, I'm not thinking like 100 just yet, but yeah, I mean, things are going really well. You know, I started my whole YouTube journey last year. I know we covered this in the last vlog, and things have just been, you know, again, going really well. I've been on a good track, and also started reaching out more and, just socializing with the YouTube community. You may have seen that I've been doing a lot of collaborations lately with Northern Lion, Rock Lee Smile, Jason with OTI, Green 9090, all those guys. And those have been a lot of fun. It's always nice to branch out, and, in a lot of ways it's nice working with other people. Kind of opens me up a little bit. It gives me, time to, just socialize a bit, which is always fun. And and plus there's games out there like Arma 3 and of course team-based games like Dota or whatever else that are always better when you've got a team around. I mean, watching me play Arma 3 alone all the time would probably get boring. That's been again, it's something that I think has definitely had an impact on growth. And those guys have been awesome, super supportive, and we're at a point now where we're all kind of trying to help each other grow and build our presence, and even with stuff with like dealing with publishers and developers and stuff, we're kind of trying to think how to say this, breaking down barriers. We're not looking at it so much as like, hey, you're on Machinima, I'm on TGS or whatever. It's more just like, hey, we're all in this together. We're all making game videos, and we want to see this scene improve and grow. So yeah, I mean, again, 20,000 subs, pretty damn fast in comparison to some of my previous milestones, and I think I'm at like 20,300 something right now. So it's just going up and up. I also hit over 1,900 followers on Twitter, so I'm getting really close to 2,000. Facebook is still kind of lagging behind a little bit, but I also don't do too much with it. I'm starting to again, though, now that I've hit over 100 likes. So if you guys want to help me grow out the Facebook side of things, definitely give that thing a like, and you should be able to see some updates on there as I'm going to be updating it with my new videos going forward. And yeah, I know I've been talking about doing this big giveaway, so I do want to talk about that really quick. The giveaway, here's what I could tell you. YouTube is one of the worst places, in my opinion, to do an actual giveaway. I mean, yeah, you can leave codes and comments, or you can add them to a description, but the systems that YouTube has in terms of communicating with your fans isn't all that good, unless you're going to make a video and just put the codes right into the video. But then you've got the issue of making people manually type them, and then nobody's going to really know if they're taken or not. So here's what I'm thinking. I know I'd mentioned the Facebook thing, and so with that in mind, like my page on Facebook and keep an eye on it, because what I think I'm going to do is one of two things here, and it's going to be soon, probably within the next 4 or 5 days at least. I'm thinking that I will either have a video that's unlisted that'll have a bunch of codes and everything in it, or even a video that has a link to a secret little website or something like that with a bunch of codes. Or alternatively, I'll point you guys to a location such as, for example, my Steam group that'll have a bunch of codes. And these are going to be codes for a whole bunch of stuff, a lot of different games. I'm essentially going to be dumping, like, you know, almost like every code I have saved right now. This includes a lot of codes for the Company of Heroes 2 beta, for the Arma 3 Alpha Lite version. I've also got Darwinia, Multiwinia, Defcon, Uplink, Hearts of Iron 3, Showdown Effect codes, Bioshock 1 and 2, a couple codes for Monaco, What's Yours Is Mine. So yeah, I mean, there's going to be a bunch of stuff here. Oh, and also Chivalry and FTL. So, definitely make sure that you guys are keeping an eye on, you know, all the different places that I could potentially use. That includes Facebook, of course. As mentioned, I'll probably post the very first, you know, like URL essentially for you guys to go chase, whether it's on YouTube or my Steam group or whatever else, or some random website. And that will link you guys to like where the codes are. And I think it's going to be a first come first serve type of deal. I might give you guys a little bit of a heads up, like maybe I'll post like a few hours early and say, hey, you know, I'm just about to do the giveaway, get ready. But after that, it's going to be first come first served, because with the amount of codes I have, it would just be impossible to get them out to you guys one by one. So yeah, that's coming up. Also, you guys should know this by now. I give away a lot of codes on Twitter. I will probably give some away on there too, so make sure that you're following me on there and keep an eye out. I try to balance it out with giving, you know, codes out at different times of the day. That way, people in different territories have a, you know, fair chance of getting something. What else aside from that? Yeah, I mean, you know, again, things are just going really well. I'm really happy with where I'm at, and yeah, you know, I appreciate you guys supporting me so much. I mean that, you know, with the utmost honesty, and I couldn't have, you know, gotten to where I'm at without you guys. I mean, this is what YouTube channels like mine are all about. It's all about, you know, the fans, or at least that's how I think it should be. I mean, I know that there's some people out there that, you know, are sometimes a little bit pissy about fans and whatnot, but in my opinion, I mean, everything that goes on this channel is for you guys. And, you know, thank you for supporting me in the journey so far. I hope that you'll continue to do so as we go forward. I am hoping to be able to continue doing this even after I'm done with school and everything, which should be soon. It's going to be in the next few months. So at that point, you know, I think I'm going to be able to start doing more videos, and yeah, you know, I'm going to kind of be heavily invested in YouTube. So, what do you say we get to Q&A? I know that I got a lot of questions, and this is a reminder, if you want to ask me anything and you would like me to answer it in a future episode of my vlog here, just make sure that you leave it in the comments, and I will go through the comments here the next time I go to make my video, you know, for vlog number 3, and answer questions from it. So, in this case, I grabbed most of the questions. There were some that, you know, I was writing down way too many, and I figured it would just take too long to get through all of them. So, I'm just going to go through these one by one, and I've jotted down 19 so far. I think 1 or 2 of them have multiple questions, but yeah, let's get started. Alright, so, what board game is your favorite? And, you know, I had to think about that for a while, because I don't know. I don't know if I was ever the biggest board gamer, but a couple of games that I recall playing a lot of was Monopoly, and also I was pretty hooked to Life when I was younger. Monopoly, I think, was kind of a precursor to, well, you know, I think it shed some lights on my mentality about business and you know, essentially expanding and gaining properties and whatnot. You know, I think it was giving me a hint when I was a kid that I kind of had this interest in the business side of things. And also Life, you know, I was always all about, like, you know, making the best paths, or, you know, getting the best, like, results. I always wanted to be the doctor with the mansion and stuff. So those were the two board games I think that I was, you know, most into when I was a kid and everything. But as I got into, like, my teenage years and even up to, like, where I'm at now, I never really kept up with any of the, like, more advanced board games, really. And, you know, I feel like I've missed out a little bit, but then again, I mean, there's just so many computer games out there that, you know, it's hard to play those types of games when computer games are just like, it's like instant gratification. You can jump into something and you don't have to set up a board or pieces or anything else like that. So I do like that about computer games, and you know, I think that's part of the reason why I've never gotten into the you know, cooler, like, adult versions of board games these days. All right, next question. Do you like pizza? This one's pretty simple. Yes, and you know, it's really cool to live in the Chicago area. I'll tell you that much, because there's, you know, Chicago deep dish. There's tons of options. You also got the fast food varieties. You got your Papa John's, Domino's, Pizza Hut, all that good stuff. But, you know, again, there's just tons of Chicago places here that offer, you know, the Chicago deep dish style. There's also some really awesome thin crust places. Pretty much like anything that you could ever want pizza-wise is in Chicago. So yeah, I really like pizza. I try not to eat it as much, you know, just because it's kind of unhealthy. But yeah, I really like it. All right, next question. Is there any way to hear the full song at the end of your videos? Yes. Okay, so that song is by a chiptune artist, should I say, called Ensnare, and I link to his site at the end of the description in every video I put up with his music. There's like a mega mix of sorts on that page, and if you pull it up and you hit play, you could hear the entire track listing. It's all mashed together, and again, like a complete mega mix. The song that I use starts at about 5 minutes and 30 seconds in. Now, I highly recommend, though, that you guys do consider buying that album. The album itself is really awesome, as are the previous albums he's made. And, you know, definitely worth supporting the guy. I mean, he's very talented. He puts a lot of effort into getting out, you know, really good and unique music. And he was generous enough to allow me to use his music at the end of my videos. So, you know, definitely check him out. Again, his name, or his artist name is Ensnare, and the link is at the end of every video in the description. Okay, next question. Do you do YouTube full-time? No, not at the moment, but it's something that I may be trying to ramp up to. I know that there are a lot of YouTubers that actually do this full-time. They're usually the guys who do like 2 or 3 or even 4 videos a day. I'm obviously nowhere near that, but also there's, you know, people who even go to the events like PAX and E3 and everything, and, you know, it's just right now that's not what I'm doing, but, you know, I have been trying to do my best to get out good content for you guys on a regular basis. And you know, as mentioned, you know, it's something that I might be trying to ramp up to going forward. It just, you know, right now for a number of different reasons, it's just not, you know, something that I'm able to do at the moment. So, all right, next, are you ever going to go back to doing League of Legends videos? I think I mentioned this in my last video. I have something like 3,000 subscribers who came to me just from the League of Legends videos I used to make way back in the day. And short answer is yes, I think I'm going to have at least 1 or 2 videos of League of Legends going forward, and they're going to be parts of collaborations. Beyond that, I can't promise anything. Dota 2 has kind of been my thing for the past year and a half or so. So, but again, I think there will be 1 or 2. Favorite ice cream? Baskin-Robbins, also known as 31 Flavors Mint Chocolate Chip. I have loved their mint chocolate chip since I was a kid. Now, other brands are okay. Usually they have like thicker chips in them, and I'm more of a fan of like the really thin chips that Baskin-Robbins uses. But yeah, that's my favorite. Good stuff. And let's move on. Would you live on another awesome planet, but you couldn't go back? You know, probably not, because Earth is still a pretty decent place to live. I'm not sure, you know, like, how is this other planet going to be awesome? I guess that would have been some good information to know, but realistically, you know, taking off to another planet where you don't know anybody and, you know, just having to start all over, I don't think I'd want to do that. I feel like, you know, I've got some sort of foundation here on Earth, and I wouldn't want to leave that behind. But maybe if it was like 400 years down the road and Earth was really shitty and there's no resources left, then yeah, maybe I'd want to go. Okay, next. Question 8. Will we ever see some BF3? Battlefield 3. That's a good question. You know, I used to be a huge Battlefield junkie. Like, absolutely huge. The developers actually started sending me signed copies and stuff because I was, like, so engaged in the community. I was super competitive. And, you know, I've considered it. I started to kind of feel, though, that FPS games like the Call of Duty franchise and Halo and Battlefield 3 were kind of, like, overdone on YouTube, but it's something I would consider. I will admit, though, that I am quite rusty at Battlefield 3. I've put in a fraction of the number of hours into it as I have the previous Battlefield games. And that goes all the way back to the original. I was there when Battlefield 1942 came out. I was a day one buyer. I played all the expansions. I played Vietnam, Battlefield 2. Yeah, Battlefield 3, for whatever reason, I just did not spend nearly as much time with it. I can't explain why. But yeah, it's possible. If you guys want to see Battlefield 3, if you think it would be entertaining to see me play it, let me know in the comments. And, you know, it'll make it more likely. And let's go on to the next question. How do you get early access to games? Okay. I've built up relationships with a number of different publishers and developers over the years. I believe that I'd mentioned that I was with IGN before. I was at a website called Voodoo Extreme, also known as VE3D. And that also helped as well, you know, kind of keep those relationships going that I built over the years. And most of my contacts have been relatively supportive. Others seem kind of, you know, not sure what to do about the YouTube scene. So I feel like they've kind of felt like their hands have been tied, so to speak, in terms of being able to fully support me. But, you know, for the most part, building those relationships has helped a lot. And, you know, these are contacts that know that if they give me something early, it's not going to leak out on the internet. Or, you know, I'm not going to be breaking the embargo or the NDA by posting up videos before they say it's... sorry about that, my voice. Before they say it's okay to. So, yeah, you know, being able to have those relationships before jumping into this helps tremendously. And, you know, I know that that's going to be a challenge, though, for any new YouTubers, you know, trying to get those relationships going. But, you know, unfortunately, that's just kind of how it is. You know, a lot of publishers out there, they won't just throw things at people. Now, indie developers, on the other hand, though, they're usually much more generous. You don't have to deal with the politics or, you know, essentially getting to know the PR people really well because they've spent millions of dollars developing this game. They don't want it to leak. Usually the indie guys realize that, you know, they want to get the word out. They don't have a marketing budget. And, you know, it's usually better to just try to give people the benefit of the doubt and trust that they won't leak it. So... that's my suggestion to you guys if you ever want to make a YouTube channel or whatever. Don't be afraid to reach out to indie devs, you know, to pitch coverage of their game. Okay, next. Will giveaways be on Steam? Okay, well, I think we covered that a little bit already. I will probably still do exclusive giveaways on my Steam group. I also still do giveaways on Twitter, as you guys probably know if you follow me. But for this big one, I'm not entirely sure yet if my Steam group is going to be the specific place for the big batch of codes. And also, one other thing I should mention to you guys, if you try to activate too many codes on Steam in a row, a lot of times it'll lock you out for like an hour from activating. So in the event that you do want to try to register something, and you know, you're finding out that like there's a duplicate code warning, just make sure that you're trying to activate the stuff that you would really want, because if you get locked out, it's probably going to be a while before you can try again. Okay, next question. What Kickstarter projects are you most excited about? That's actually a really tough call for me, because if you look me up on Kickstarter, you'll see that I've backed like 30-something projects now. I mean, I just like went on a kickstarting spree last year and this year, so there's a ton of kickstarted games that I'm really looking forward to. Most of the big ones I've pledged to already, and Yeah, I mean, you know, it's tough. I would say that the new Planescape game I'm really interested in for just the story aspect. Planescape Torment had one of the best stories in an RPG that you know, I've ever experienced, and if they can get that right again, that would be amazing. What else? Wasteland 2 and Shadowrun both look really awesome. On the adventure side, of course, there's Leisure Suit Larry Reloaded. I think that's going to be kind of interesting. They're supposed to be like redoing all the puzzles and everything. Carmageddon. I mean, God, there's just so many games. Project Goddess. You know, the list goes on and on and on. You know, just all these games that came out, you know, that were essentially dead before. Oh, and Star Citizen. Really pumped about that. I mean, again, there is just endless list of games that I'm excited to see. Now, my one fear, though, with Kickstarter is I know that eventually there's going to be a complete dud, and it's going to make a lot of people upset, I'm sure. Because essentially, you know, it's everybody pre-ordering, and the game could turn out to be a total piece of crap. But for the most part, the stuff that has come out has been pretty good. You know, I mean, look at even like FTL. You know, I made so many FTL videos, but that game was a Kickstarter game. And that was a fantastic title. Alright, what else? Let's see. Thoughts on the game industry nowadays? You know, I kind of have mixed feelings about it. And, you know, obviously you don't want to trash it too much when you're in a position, you know, like me or, you know, anybody else on YouTube or on the editorial side, but I've got some mixed feelings for sure. I think that in some areas there's some unhealthy stuff going on. I think there's kind of a odd relationship these days between editorial and public relations, and you know, all these parties and these events, and you know, press only events and swag. And I mean, you know, there's some swag that goes out sometimes to editors where you know, they can toss them on eBay and make a few $100. You know, it's, I mean, at what point, you know, are you at the level where you know, you're accepting gifts, you know, essentially, and then you're supposed to be criticizing a product from that person. And then there's also the aspect of blacklists and all that. And then there's Metacritic. I mean, publishers are just so obsessed with Metacritic these days, and the people that they want to take care of the most are the people who actually get the reviews on Metacritic. So that's, you know, those are the people that they're obviously chasing down. Like, hey, can we do interviews with you? Is there any way we can support you better and everything? And then you've got like the people who aren't on Metacritic that are not getting that same level of treatment, so to speak. You know, it kind of creates a situation where the publishers have their own little favorites that they like to, you know, really butter up. So, you know, again, that goes back to the swag and all that, and giveaways and interviews and exclusives and all that. So yeah, you know, again, the kind of mixed feelings, but at the same time I think there's some really exciting stuff going on in the industry, you know, between the essential revival of the PC scene. I mean, it's awesome to see so many awesome, God, I'm saying awesome all the time now. It's really exciting, there we go, to see, you know, all these games getting kickstarted and old classics being brought back to life. It's almost like a new golden era of PC gaming. The only difference is that there's a lot more, or there's this whole new business model of free-to-play. And, you know, I think that some developers out there are kind of exploiting that scene, and others are being a lot more fair. I think Valve has got a really good system, but, you know, it's starting to feel like MMOs a little bit, where you've only got so much time, right? Yeah, you can't play every MMO on the planet, and at the same time, you can't play every free-to-play game either. I mean, they just take so much time. But yeah, I could talk about this stuff forever. So I'm gonna wrap that one up there and move on to the next. Let's see. Hurdles to production values, and how have you gotten around them? Okay, I'd say my biggest hurdle is the fact that I'm not actually like trained or educated in video production values. You know, it's just something that I've had to kind of figure out as I go forward, and that includes everything. That includes working with the timeline, that includes making cuts and edits, and you know, all that good stuff, and overlaying graphics, and even setting up, like at the end of my video when I would do the little preview videos, I had to figure that out, you know, on my own. I haven't really found any good guides, and you know, it's a learning experience. Every day is, you know, a day that I learn something new, and I would hope that I'll continue to get better. So, you know, that's where you guys come in. I mean, if you guys ever think that you know, you've got a tip or a trick or whatever for me, you know, feel free to share it. But yeah. Okay, next. Game Station podcast appearance. Is that going to happen? I would think so. I believe that there's maybe like 200 something people on TGS now. And for the most part, the TGS crew invites people from the TGS network, so I'm sure eventually my name's going to get drawn out of the hat. But I can't tell you when. I don't know how they go about picking their next guest. So we'll have to see. But again, I would imagine that I'll get an invite on there eventually. Okay, next. Are you enjoying getting a business administration degree? I think that's what that person was asking. Yeah, I would say I enjoy it. And they also asked if I would recommend it. Well, here's the thing. Studying business is not just like studying business. It's not like, you know, here's a small business or here's a corporation and here's how businesses work. There's so much more to it, and I think this is where people get burned out really quick. I've met a ton of people that gave up on getting a degree in business administration because of just how many layers of other stuff there is. You know, for a lot of people, it seems like they want to study it because they want to learn about managing people or just running a business. But when you study business administration, you're studying a lot of, you know, really large scale subject material, and that includes economics, and that's accounting, a lot of accounting. That's finance. You know, you got to deal with the financial aspect. You're learning about also human resource management and project management, and you know, and it's just crazy how much stuff you have to learn. You know, my own stepbrother actually dropped out of his business administration studies and switched it over to communications because he was finding it too difficult. But I think you need to have the right mindset. You have to have a genuine interest, and you've also got to be willing to you know, work hard, because I get the impression that, you know, a lot of these business professors, a lot of times they come from high profile jobs. They've been vice presidents or directors or, you know, whatever else. Some have even been CEOs that you'll run into that are teaching now, and they do not want to put people that are flaky or are not hard workers into the industry with a business degree. That's the impression I get. It seems like these professors, they really try to weed people out, and they do a good job of it, I'll tell you that. I mean, I've seen so many people drop out of the program and switch to something else. So you know, again, it's really it comes down to what your interests are. I would not go into it for the purpose of money, because there's no guarantees, and I personally went into it a bit because I've always had this, you know, this little bug in me where I wanted to potentially get a business going down the road, or even, you know, just work up the chain and get into higher level management type positions. So that's kind of been my driving force. I don't think I ever want to be an accountant. I don't want to be, you know, God, I can't talk. An economist. I don't want to be a finance guru. I don't want to be working at, you know, a large-scale bank dealing with trades all day. I'd say I'm more interested in the management aspect personally, and, you know, just the operation side of running a business. So it could come in handy even with the YouTube side of things, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think it's super valuable for me personally to have this degree, and I think it'll pay off down the road. But for you guys, I mean, you know, it's really up, or it really comes down to your interests. My opinion really is that whatever you study, make sure it's something that you enjoy. That's what matters most. And that's also why I took a lot of psychology courses, and I also even took like a decent amount of philosophy. Is you know, like psychology, I think I've taken like 6 or 7 courses, and just because I love psychology so much. If like there was some other path I would have gone on, it would have been like a psych degree, but it requires a lot of you know, additional education. I mean, you need to go get a master's in psych and even a doctorate, you know, to really do anything with it. All right, next, let's see. What are your favorite types of games? I would say, without a doubt, RTS games, FPS games, and RPGs. I also really like turn-based strategy type games, and that includes stuff like Civilization, or even XCOM. I love all those, all the games in each of those categories. After that, I mean, indie games are sometimes really hard to classify, but even platformers I've got a little special spot in my heart for. But the games that I'm really not all that into are, games like sports titles or, Barbie's Playhouse or whatever else. Any of that stuff I'm not really into. But FPS, RTS, RPG, and like turn-based, I'm like die-hard fan of. All right, next. What is your education? Well, I covered that a little bit. So I've got 4 years of college done, and almost all of that is business and psych. So, let's see, what is this? Would insane success on YouTube change your career goals at all? I would say that it would take me down an unintended path, in that I'd never really expected to do anything serious on YouTube. But at the same time, it's not a bad thing. I mean, it's something I actually really enjoy. I mean, there's very few things you can do out there where you get to, not only play games, but also share that experience with others and get feedback from them. I really like that aspect of things. So, again, it would be unintended, but still very exciting, and nothing that I think I would regret necessarily. And finally, how much time do you spend on your videos per week? Man, that's a super hard question to answer. I would say that, I was asked how much time it takes to record. Usually my recordings are like 30 minutes to 60 minutes. And, usually I'm pretty good at getting good footage, stuff that I'm happy with. So I don't usually have to like do additional takes. But, that's definitely something that doesn't apply to marathon sessions though. Like, let's say I'm going to do a marathon of Don't Starve or FTL or whatever else. I'm going to have like a very long recording of, like 3-4 hours that I'm going to cut into like 30-minute chunks. Obviously that takes longer. It takes 3-4 hours. For the editing process, it's usually pretty quick for me. I've got that down to a science almost. I can knock out, the edits I need rapidly and start the encode. Now, the encode, I usually just let that run when I'm planning some off time. Let's say I'm going to jump off the computer and go get some food or whatever. I'll start my encode, walk away. My computer does it. I don't have to mess around with it. And then the uploading process, same thing. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll upload my footage when I'm just about to go to bed, and I'll set a sleep timer on my computer for whatever the estimate is. So if Firefox or YouTube or whatever is telling me that it's going to be 40 minutes for the upload, then I set my sleep timer to 1 hour, just to leave room in case anything slows down or whatever. So yeah, I think I've answered everything though that I got from the last time, and the Q&A kind of lasted longer than I expected. But just to recap, again, guys, thank you so much for supporting me. We hit 20,000. I'm about to hit 2,000 followers on Twitter as well, and I've gotten over 100 likes on Facebook. And again, I do all of this for you guys, and I'm absolutely honored and excited and proud about the fact that so many people want to support me, and it makes you feel good. It definitely does, and life can be difficult sometimes, and things aren't always easy for everybody. So to be in this sort of position and get just so many people that care about you and want to interact with you and all that, it's a really special position to be in. So thank you for that, guys. And again, I hope that you stick with me. I've got this big giveaway coming, so make sure that you guys are all set up for that. Again, Facebook's probably going to be the place where I post the link leading to the the treasure chest, so to speak. So make sure you guys watch that. You've got the exclusive information here on that. So stay tuned. That's coming up. I hope that as many of you as possible that are listening to this right now get those keys, and I hope that you really enjoy the games that you get. So I think that about, wraps it up for this one, guys. Thanks for sticking out for the entire 35 and something minutes here. Or seconds, rather. God, I hope you can tell that I'm super tired as I'm recording this. But yeah, we'll have to get back to some more of your questions in the next vlog, and I'm sure I'll have another topic to talk about. So, yeah, that's it, guys. As always, please be sure to like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Tell your friends about my channel. I always appreciate it when you guys do that. And stay tuned for more videos. I'll see you guys next time.